my mind, and I don't mind saying so.
Nothing prepares you for teaching. Not your diploma, not your degrees, nothing prepares you for teaching. Madam Chair, honoured fellow Toastmasters and valued guests, I can only shake my head when I look back many decades to when I left university with degrees and a teaching certificate and too much self-confidence. And I have a confession to make. I happen to be born white in apartheid South Africa. I was indefensibly privileged, and in my 20s, let me admit, I was actually arrogant. So I went into my first teaching job so sure that it was going to be a piece of cake, and I have to say in my own defense that I didn't go into the well-equipped white schools. My heart was in the wrong place. I did go to the so-called colored school, and I wanted to do my bit. I taught my heart out, and the time came for me to give my first test. When I marked them, my heart fell into my boots. And I came into the staff room the next morning, and I talked to the friend I had made. Now tonight I'm really telling you about the 3 people, amazing, astonishing people, who helped me to climb down off my arrogant perch. And the first one was my friend in the staff room. His name was Will Genari. Genari was a reflection of his slave ancestry. He was a big man, tall, broad, with a huge spirit and a booming voice. And I said to him, well, they didn't know this and they didn't know that, and I told them. And he laughed, and he said, let me give you a teaching tip. Don't think because you said it, they heard it. And that was the first tip that improved my teaching, because I had to start thinking of good methods to check on what my students were really hearing, what I was really getting through to them, and I definitely improved. Later, I went to teach in an area called Venda. It's on the northeastern coast of South Africa, near Mozambique and Zimbabwe, a rural backwater. And I was still arrogant. I thought I was bringing them the English language and enlightenment. And, my first teacher there was a boy of 10. His name was Mukoni. And he told me a story one day. He said that he had failed a math test. And the math teacher was so bad, the rest of the class also failed. And the man who had failed to teach them any math then proceeded to beat them. And he hit them all. And little Mukoni, serious little boy, put his hand up. Sir, why did you beat me? Because you didn't know your mathematics. And so now that you have beaten me, do I know my mathematics? Wow, that's what I thought. I thought, wow, Mukoni, 10 years old, thank you. I also disagreed with corporal punishment, but I had never thought of such an eloquent, elegant way of fighting it. And such a brave way too. Still in Venda, my third teacher was a man with a wonderful name of Rashaka Rachitanga. He was 50 years old. He was graying, his beard, his hair small of stature, huge of spirit, wise and eloquent, and through no fault of his own, he had been to school until he had passed grade 10. People, however, were earning doctorates analyzing his poetry, because he was a published poet, and it was beautiful stuff. I read the English translations. And Rishaka was invited by the education authorities to teach a grade 4 class. They were short of teachers, and although he had no qualifications, he was a published poet. And they said to him, please, will you take this class for 1 year? So he did. He said yes. And he walked into the classroom, and he saw 4 canes, a long one, a short one, a thick one, a thin one, on the teacher's desk. He pretended to be puzzled. He said to the children, what are these? Oh, those are canes. What for? For you to hit us. But I don't want to hit you. And he picked up the first cane and walked to the window, broke it, threw it out the window. But what are you going to do when we're naughty? And he took the second cane and did the same thing with all 4 canes while he was speaking. He said, are you going to be naughty? I didn't expect that. Oh my goodness. Why are you naughty? And they said, we don't know, sometimes we're naughty. And he said, well, you know, a little naughtiness sometimes could be fun. But if somebody is so naughty that I can't teach you, what should we do? And a big boy said, I'll hit him. And Rishaka said, no, nobody will hit in my classroom. And it didn't take them long to suggest that they would shove a naughty child right out of the classroom. And Rishaka said, great, until he wants to be good, then he can come back. And in the course of that year, only once, because his lessons were so inspiring, because he was so good, did he have to remind them, you said you'd help me. And they pushed one naughty boy out of the door. And I learned from him, respect your students, trust your students, give them freedom, and that